Hey everybody, it's nice to be here. Thank you for coming along and turning up. Okay, you're actually going to get a bit of a different talk from me today than what you were going to get this morning. And the reason for that is that a lot of the speakers this morning have covered some of the ground that I normally would have covered in this. The other thing is too that I think I've probably got some more relevant things to say about exactly where I think this thing is headed. To give you some of my own background, David gave me a very kind introduction there. My first introduction to generative AI, which I didn't know was generative AI at the time, it was just AI, was probably about 5 years ago. And at the time I was running a digital marketing agency, and we had quite a lot of staff, and we did SEO amongst other things. And that actually required the production of content and things like that for websites. We also wanted to be able to optimise that content better. And we found out that AI did an outstanding job of all of those things, so we started to use AI a lot. And what happened over time was I guess I just got more interested in AI, and then all of a sudden ChatGPT burst onto the scene, and everybody else in the world became interested in it. So today I want to talk about chatbots. This is something that I've actually been involved in for quite some time. First thing I want to do is to demystify chatbots a little bit and talk about what a chatbot is and what it can actually do for you. Second thing is I want to differentiate the different types of chatbots, because there's chatbots and there's chatbots. And I'm going to give you a live demonstration of 4 different iterations of chatbots. Chatbot use cases. All right, does your business need an AI chatbot, and why does it need an AI chatbot if it needs one? Fourth one is question time. You can ask me anything you want. I may even be able to answer it. We'll see. So some things that AI can do incredibly well. All right, one of those is analyse data. We've had a number of people speak about this today. It really does a great job of analysing data. It understands patterns and can identify emerging trends. It can perform all sorts of complex and intricate tasks. It recognises speech. It can make decisions. So some of the decisions it makes, they're better and worse, but it can make decisions, all right? And it also translates language very, very efficiently. One of the examples that I love to give was a number of years ago, Facebook was experimenting with AI, as Facebook does, and they actually had to stop an experiment because what they were trying to do was to get the AI to translate language successfully. There's anybody who speaks more than one language knows that there's often words that you might use or conceptual constructs behind words and phrases that you use that sometimes don't have a good equivalency for you to translate into another language. Something might not translate well from French into English or whatever because there's just no ready equivalency for it. How the AI solved this problem was it started to develop its own language, all right? And because of the fact that the people running the experiment didn't understand it, they just shut it down. So that's how efficient AI is at doing this type of stuff. Nate will actually talk a lot more about this tomorrow. He's very interesting to talk to about it if you want to try and catch up with him at dinner tonight. Okay, chatbots use generative AI. We've had a lot of discussion about generative AI today, but the new, and in particular this applies to GPT-4, okay, which a lot of you will be familiar with now. It's not just about the content that it creates text, it also uses images, music, learning patterns from existing data to generate the output that you see, whereas earlier models didn't do that. They were pretty reliant on text. Generative AI, and we've covered this, but I'm going to cover a little bit more. It predicts what comes next after what's been prompted or asked. So for example, if the word roses comes after red 80% of the time, as in red roses, right, generative AI and chatbots will predict that roses should follow red in the absence of something else. Okay, and it's really important to remember that, and like I said, it's been covered by a number of people today already, but I don't think you can overstate the importance of that, particularly with what we're going to talk about now with how these chatbots work. What does it mean for your business? What it means is that correctly trained, and I'm talking now probably more of a marketing sense than anything else. If you put a chatbot on your website, for example, you can train it to understand your products, your services, your policies and procedures, your pricing, and anything else that you want to tell it about, and it can speak intelligently with anyone who comes on your website about those things. The key features of chatbots: probably improve customer service within that context I'm just speaking about, increased efficiency. You can extend your availability, and this is really important because if you've got a chatbot on your website, obviously you're available 24/7 to chat to customers, prospective customers, whatever. It saves you money because of the fact that you can automate a whole range of things that you wouldn't be able to automate before. It generates leads by gathering the information that you require, and it can help you to grow sales and boost the conversions of the people that come along and visit your website. A live demo is worth 1,000 words, and so that's what I'm going to go to next, is to show you how some of this stuff actually works in the real world with some chatbots that we've built. And just going to escape here, okay? Just need to bring this up. All right, I'll go back to that later. What I've done is I've created 4 identical websites for an orchestra that we made up called the Nuance Orchestra. Use the word nuance for obvious reasons, but what we've done is created 4 different colours. We've got the nuance blue, and nuance green, and nuance orange, and nuance red. Now on these 4 websites, they're identical in terms of the text, imagery, everything like that that's on there. What's different is the colour on the website, so it's easy for you to identify where we're at. Okay, the other thing that I've done with it is there's 4 different iterations of Chatbot, and I'm going to explain to you what those are, right, and how they work before I demonstrate what the effects of that are. Instance number 1 here, when David was talking before about dumb technology, this is probably the dumbest of the lot. Okay, this is actually plugged straight into GPT-4. So the output that we get from there, it's just straight GPT-4. It really doesn't know anything about the website. It's just a chatbot which happens to be plugged into the GPT API. Iteration 2 has got obviously got an AI engine on there to run the chatbot. It's been made aware of the content of the website. It doesn't specifically have any information to draw on, but it's able to draw on the information which is on the website. We'll see if that produces a different result. The orange one, which is iteration 3, that's something that we haven't talked about today in much detail. This chatbot works a little bit differently. Okay, it works off a vectorized database. Okay, to explain what a vectorized database is in simple terms, it's like a big database that you've got up there in the cloud, and it breaks down chunks of information that you give it. In this case, we've had it crawl the website, for example, so it's aware of all of the content which is on the website, and we've given it some additional information that we wanted it to have, and broken that down into small amounts of information. That's off in a database, and it's a vectorized database, so what it has is, think of it as lots of little addresses that you've got within that database that your AI engine can draw on, so that when somebody asks a question, it can go and interrogate that database and say, you know what, I think there's about an 80% probability that this is the right answer, and I've got 1 data source or 2 data sources or whatever it might be that you've got up there that you've told the AI engine that you want, and it'll then generate the answer using OpenAI, of course, to generate the answer. It will generate an answer based upon that information. Then we've got number 4, which is the red Nuance Orchestra website. This one, I specifically trained a large language model for this website. Okay, what we produced, and I will call this a small language model rather than a large language model, because what we did was we produced about just over 3,000 questions and answers, okay, which if you're using the AI, it's actually prompt and completion, but we'll call them questions and answers for the sake of understanding what they do. Trained a model on it, okay, so that it's got a lot of information that the other one doesn't have. And we're going to have a look at the different type of results that you get when you ask the same question of these different models now. So what we might start with is a simple question about, why is the sky blue? We're going to ask that same question to each one of these. Okay, let's go back and have a bit of a look. All right. Okay, it's given us a reasonably good answer about why the sky is blue. And if we go to iteration number 2, well, it's given us a lot more information about why the sky is blue. I don't know why, it's given us more. That's one of the things about doing a live demonstration. This is completely unpredictable. As much as I've tested this before, I could get something totally unexpected out of this. Okay, sky is blue, very similar type of answer to what we saw the first time. And this last one has given us a very short, succinct answer. All right, so we're now going to clear all of those bots and ask it something more specific about the orchestra. Okay, let's see how it goes with the question, what is your address? Okay. Let's go back and have a look what it has to say about this now. Okay, on the blue model, as an AI assistant, I don't have a physical address, all right? That's what you're going to get from ChatGPT. It can't help you. Go here, I'm sorry, I cannot provide personal information. Okay, this one here is aware of the content on the website. Let me tell you that the address of the orchestra is there on the website, but for whatever reason, this bot is not picking it up. Okay, our address is not publicly disclosed as we're a virtual assistant AI platform. Okay, in this case, there's a reason why this believes that its address isn't exposed, and that's because of the fact that we didn't vector that into the information, which is specifically why I've asked it that question. And then finally, we've got the answer we want. This is a model that we trained, all right, specifically to do this as an artificial intelligence model. So we can see here that we've got 4 iterations of Chatbot. They all use the OpenAI API, all right, but you've got 4 very, very different answers to the questions that you ask here. Okay, well, let's ask it something a little bit more. Ticket costs, right? You're going to get exactly the same type of thing with ticket costs. Let's see what happens. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is clear it because we don't want it to remember what it said before. One of the things I will say to you about using those types of bots, and I don't think this has been mentioned today actually, when you use them, they are contextual, all right? Because what happens, if you ask it a question now, okay, and then you want more information and ask it another question, it appears like it remembers, oh yeah, it remembers that, okay, and it'll be able to add more information and you can continue to go. The reality is it doesn't do that at all. It actually ingests all that information all over again, all right, and then produces the answer for you to that question, which is one of the things we spoke about before was hallucination with chatbots. It gets confused. What happens is you get down to 20, 25 questions, whatever, it starts to get confused, and that's actually when you often get it start hallucinating is when it does that. Let's see what it has to say about the tickets. Okay, I'll go back to iteration 1. Okay, ticket prices vary. The event you're interested in. Basically, it gives you completely useless information. Number 2, yep, we've got more useless information. Number 3, where it's actually been vectored. Okay. All right, what it's done is it's actually grabbed some information off the website here and it hasn't provided the information that we want directly out of that model. All right, this one here, okay, it still hasn't given us what we want, although I have had it give us exactly what I want before and give you all the pricing, but it's saying to visit the website or call the hotline. That's actually the correct number that we've put in there for the hotline. So you can see that depending on how much information you've provided the chatbot with, your results can vary, okay, and they can vary quite a bit. So let's move now to, sorry? Yeah, we'll do that again. I'm going to, let's go to something a little more interesting. We're going to ask about a person now, and you can get very different results when you do that. Okay, now the person that we're pasting in is in fact a person that we've created as a member of this particular orchestra, and there is information on the website about this person, and there's information in the vector about this person as well. So let's see what the bot has to say about Olivia Roberts. Okay. as it turns out, Olivia Roberts is actually a real person who's apparently a talented actress, whatever. This came from ChatGPT directly. Because this is the blue iteration, I'm just going to pop that down there so you can see it. But it clearly did not get that information from our website, which is about an orchestra. It's saying that she's actually an actress. Okay, tell me about, this one here, this iteration doesn't know any specific person named Olivia Roberts. All right, on the green iteration. Now, I'm sorry, I don't have any information about Olivia Roberts. Once again, we excluded that from the vector. Okay, and finally, Olivia Roberts is a talented young cellist from Australia. Okay, they've got the information about there on it because on the red iteration, we've got a large language model that we've actually trained to do this. Now, we could go backwards and forwards and we could ask it the same question and we could get different answers and all sorts of things like that, but I'm not going to bore you with going backwards and forwards doing that. I think what I've demonstrated is that, hang on a minute, I'm just going to bring this one back up if I've got it right. Okay, I'll come back to that. What I've demonstrated is that you do get different results based on the different types of chatbots that you've got. And the thing that I want to point out too is that even though my company has invested good money in developing this stuff, we're about to move to iteration 2 of this and changed our mind about it. Now, iteration 2 is something that's been widely discussed here today, where we're talking about a chatbot ingesting a whole lot of information, like, for example, legal documents or maybe a lawyer, if they've got a case on or whatever, they've done discovery, you've got all your discovery documents that you want to ingest into the bot, and then basically have the bot ingest all that. Then people can go in there and interrogate the bot, actually talk to the bot as if they were talking to another person about all of that. We've decided to abandon that, and the reason we decided to abandon it is because the fact it's very clear to me already that Microsoft is way onto this, okay? They've got a whole range of products out, like Copilot, which is, AI, which is directly into the interface of your Microsoft product suite that you've got now. Once they've more of a convergence between those products that they have and the Azure cloud which they have, we're going to see some very different products available, and I'm guaranteeing you that chatbots are going to be amongst it. They will be so normal that everybody will use them just the same way that they use Microsoft Word right now. So there's no real money for me to make out of this anymore, which is why I've gone, okay, I know we've spent a lot of money on it. Explain that to my wife. I know we've spent a lot of money on it, but it's time to not do this anymore. We've learnt a lot about it. The experience has been a lot of fun and everything, but Microsoft is really going to take this over. And I think it's going to be exactly the same with the sort of chatbots that I've just demonstrated to you now. But what Microsoft will do is they'll make it incredibly easy for the average user to deal with those products. Like right now, if you didn't know quite a bit about how to do this, you would struggle with building these chatbots. Okay, we've got an AI engine there that we use, and we use existing technology that's in place like Pinecone to vectorise stuff, and we use the OpenAI API and whatever. But if you don't know how to train these models, and you don't know how to chunk the information for Pinecone, and you don't know how to get it up there, and you don't know how to get that back on your website, it's very difficult. Microsoft is going to make that very, very easy, and Google will make it very, very easy, and Amazon Web Services will make it very, very easy. There'll be lots and lots of people make it easy. So the cost of these things is going to come way down, all right? The use of them is going to go through the roof. One other thing to be aware of with them too is that the cost of the hardware to actually run this stuff is pretty stiff. And I've been at this a long time. I got a notification from our host a few weeks back that said, you've run out of inodes. I've gone, I don't know what an inode is, I've never heard of it before. So of course I've talked to my server guy, what's an inode? He's been at it for nearly 30 years and he said, I don't know, never heard of it before. Turns out that they're kind of little tiny pieces of information, and that we'd really filled them all up with all the vectorised data that we had on our website. So what we did was we had one test website up that had about 17,000 vectors on it. We took that down, put it on ice, and said, okay, we'll put that one back up some other time, because of the fact that it's costly to upgrade the server technology to do this. So that's something that your business and everybody's business is going to need to be aware of, whether you do it internally or whether you do it externally. It's really not going to make any difference. Okay, I'm going to move on again to, I'll just click through here because it brought the whole presentation up. Okay, does your business need an AI chatbot? I can't say that the answer to that is yes for every business, because it's probably not yes. What can AI chatbots help you with? Okay, they can help you with appointment booking. They don't necessarily need to use chatbots with that. I mean, everybody who knows me here, they know that in the bottom of my email signature it says click here to book a Zoom call. If they click that link, it actually takes them to an AI assistant which is booked into my calendar, and if there's 10 people that need to attend that meeting, the AI assistant will actually follow everybody up and do all that it's got to do until it actually gets a time that suits everybody, and then it'll book the appointment and send everybody notifications. All right, so it's not a chatbot, but it's AI. AI can do this really well, and it can reschedule, and it can do, you know, all those types of things. Instant legal advice. This is something that we have a bit of experience with because we were working on it. Again, it's one of those things that we were working on and we stopped. As David mentioned, we own the largest legal directory in the Philippines, like Digital Legal Directory. We've got maybe 150,000 or so visitors a month to that website. We were looking at providing instant legal advice on that website. And when I say legal advice, I mean very limited legal advice, very careful legal advice to people. But I think that the use case for this is absolutely huge. I mean, there's already companies in the Australian market like Joseph and people like that that are doing good things with this already. And I think we're going to see the emergence of a lot of websites with a lot of robo-type legal advice on there, and particularly for documents that I would call it any document that you can turn into an algorithm, and that would include things like wills, enduring powers of attorney, family trust deeds, you know, probably company incorporations, all those sorts of things. I know that there's exceptions in all of those things, but the general run-of-the-mill with all of these types of documents, they're boilerplate, and you can put them on a website and you can do a pretty damn good job with them. In fact, you can do a better job than a human in most cases because the error is much, much less than what it would be with a lawyer or somebody else doing it. Okay, document handling. Before meetings, you know, for accountants, lawyers, other professionals, the AI can handle those documents spectacularly well. And you've already seen like how we set those bots up before, that they ingested certain information. When the technology gets a little bit better and a little bit faster, you'll be able to have somebody push the documents through your website. The AI will ingest it. It can provide a summary for you. It'll be automated summary. So you've got a full automated summary of everything that you're going to talk to them about before they even hit your office. Policy clarification. This is really, I think, going to be big for insurance companies. I used to own a small general insurance company at one time, and I know how complex this can be and how frustrated customers can become because of the fact they don't understand something well. Chatbots are perfectly placed to explain policy terms and conditions and things like that. They're also going to be an incredibly useful tool in claims assessment and management and those types of things. Onboarding processes, very similar to your document handling. We actually use, we don't so much use AI, but we certainly use robotics to onboard clients. Like we get somebody buys a new chatbot, every week for the next 52 weeks they automatically get an email from us that outlines some of the things they can do, inviting them to, you know, send to our AI compositor additional information so that we can add it to their chatbot, that type of thing. It can be great for that type of stuff. If you've got staff as well, I know that when we take on a new staff member, depending on the job that they do, we certainly have an onboarding process for those people. Mostly that consists of videos and that type of stuff. I'd really pretty keen to change this to a chatbot so that we've got a formal process with videos and that as we do now, but then they can talk to the chatbot, and if they need to speak about something or they forget about something, they can ask the chatbot about it and it can guide them through the process or procedure that you need. Billing queries. Okay, billing queries are a constant pain in the butt for most businesses. Chatbots can actually handle most of this. Contract review. Nate is going to be big into this tomorrow. You'll actually see the ActiumAI robot at work, and I promise you're going to be very, very impressed. But contract review is one of the things it does well. Tax filing reminders, just following up with people. You know, if you've got particular things, licensing reminders, whatever for clients, it can do all of that. Lead qualification. From a marketing perspective, fantastic at qualifying leads so that you can eliminate from your loop the people that you don't want to speak to and get into your loop the people that you do want to speak to. So what does all of that mean for you and your customers? Okay, 65% of consumers prefer chatbots for quick communication with brands. Okay, that's kind of today. 48% of consumers said they'd rather connect with a company via a live chat, and 67% of consumers worldwide used a chatbot support in the last year. I actually really like chatbots. I like it when I go to a company and they've got a chatbot. Sometimes I get frustrated if I've got a complex question and it needs to go to a human, but you can set the chatbot up so that when it goes to a human, it'll do a good job of pushing them through to somebody who can understand the problem. 27%, I found this really interesting, 27% of users didn't know if their last support chat was with a human or a chatbot. They had no idea. Couldn't tell you. 40% of consumers don't care whether a chatbot or a real human helps them out. You could be fooled if you went on Facebook and all the people complaining about things like self-serve checkouts at Woolworths and everything like that. You'd think they want more interaction, but apparently there's a high proportion of people don't care. I'm one of those people. 80% of respondents who interacted with a chatbot reported the experience as positive. You can save up to 30% on customer service calls. I actually believe the number is much higher. I live in the Philippines. There's a lot of call centres around where I live. I can tell you that a lot of these call centres are gearing up in a big way to replace a lot of their staff with chatbots, and I can tell you that when they get good at it, and I saw a video recently of a chatbot with Tesla, effectively making a service call to somebody who'd been on the website. They were obviously using some sort of marketing automation there. They tracked who this user was. Well, they were able to identify them. The chatbot initiated the call with this individual, spoke to them. You could hear from the pause that it was AI, because there was a little bit of a pause involved there. But overall, the interaction was absolutely fantastic. And what occurred at the end of it was they booked them in for a test drive with the Tesla. I thought that was fantastic. Okay, save up to 20% of the time spent on training. Again, I think that is a massive underestimation of the amount of time you can save on training with chatbots. I know how much time we used to spend on it and how much time we spend on it now. Okay, enjoy a 60% efficiency increase. Again, I think that's probably understated. Okay, 67% increase in lead generation. I can verify that that's true. People love chatbots and they will actually leave information. 29% improved conversion rates and 70 to 80% improved customer satisfaction, all with chatbots. Okay, embracing chatbots as a professional, it isn't just about modernisation. It's about boosting your interaction with your customers. It's about boosting your productivity. It's about driving growth within your business. And without it, your business actually risks losing the competitive edge that all your competitors got, because they're going to use this technology, whether you use it or not, they're going to use it. Okay, question time. Probably don't have a lot of time for that, but just throw them at me, anything that you've got, and I'll see if I can actually answer it. Thank you very much.
Tony will be at the dinner tonight, hosting a table.
Yep.
And I encourage you to contact him tomorrow or tonight.
Yep. Okay, you had a question?
Yeah, I don't know anything about AI other than what I've read in the media, and I know that it's a popular thing to invest in NVIDIA and other companies. What are the sort of costs for the SME or the business that's looking to implement AI for its operations, depending on what it does? I mean, for example, we're retirement village operators. We get a lot of hits on Facebook and inquiries about, do you have any units for sale? What is the cost of the units? How much of the general service fees? What locations are they available, etc., etc. So from that perspective, as an operator, what sort of costs should I be looking at to deploy one of these chatbots into my operation?
Look, it's going to depend how far you want to go, because the four different iterations of chatbots that I showed you, they've got different cost bases attaching to them. It's obviously very cheap to hook something up to OpenAI. All right, it doesn't cost you a lot of money, but it doesn't do you a lot of good on your website either. Yeah. For most small businesses, I would say that in most cases with a small business, your best option is actually vectorised data. I can promise you that you get better results out of vectorising data than what you do out of training an LLM. And the reason that you get better results out of it is, like, for example, the large language model that I just showed you, I joked and said it was a small language model, and it kind of is, because we only use 3,000 questions and answers. But for the average small business operator out there, 3,000 questions and answers, let me tell you, that's a lot of questions and answers to come up with. They couldn't do it.
In our business, we wouldn't have that.
Exactly.
We probably have 100 questions at most.
Yeah. Oh, look, and you're going to have particular questions that come up again and again. And this is where chatbots absolutely shine. As a business owner, you'll know which questions people are most likely to ask. And so what you can do is create the questions and the answers that are most likely to satisfy that. Have that vectorised so that when they ask a question that is that question or like that question, so that the AI engine can identify that, it'll go off into the cloud and say, this matches that, and therefore I'm going to generate an answer based on this.
With the company that's providing the service to go through all that
Yeah.
from scratch, you create a list of questions,
Mm.
and then that service runs on their server and it connects to your website somehow?
No, well, I'll tell you how we do it. Well, it's quite simple, actually. What we do is we have people work for us that we call AI compositors, okay? It's a name that I made up because there's not actually a job title for those people. That's how recent it is. Okay, so an AI compositor will actually help you to determine the questions and answers that you've got, okay? They're asking me to wrap up now, but yeah, essentially what will happen is they'll help you to get the right questions, load it into the cloud, and it'll run directly on your website, but off infrastructure that we provide. And to do that, you're probably looking at about $7 or $8 grand to do something like that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for